party seems to be reasonably functioning. But third term requires exceptional performance and great trust and credibility. AAP has lost that trust and credibility. The second thing that saddens me particularly, and should sadden any Democrat in the country, is the way an extraordinary opportunity to give new orientation to our democracy has been squandered by AAP. I have been one of the great supporters of AAP right from the beginning. Even in the last election, I supported them, in the hope that the voice of sanity, moderation, and most of all, genuine reform will help pave way for a better democracy. But by focusing exclusively on short-term individual welfare measures, ignoring the central role of government, the critical role of government, by focusing too much on publicity and excessively combative approach, ignoring constitutional norms and propriety, forgetting that in a democracy, everybody is dedicated to constitutional values and the long-term growth of India and national interest, making everything into a black or white struggle. AAP, what could have been a very important influence in transforming our democracy, raising the right issues, practicing the right kind of politics, and showing the way for the country, has become the central part of India's political challenge. I don't mean to unduly criticize a fledgling party which made an effort. But today, the tail has started wagging the dog. Congress and many other parties now have taken a leaf out of the book of AAP and have lost all sense of balance now in the country and are focusing exclusively on the short-term individual welfare at the cost of long-term growth of the country. Delhi city is unlike any other political jurisdiction of India. It has the highest per capita income. It has electorate drawn from all over the country, transcending caste, region, religion, language. It is unique. And Delhi also has very high level of public funds. Because of high per capita income, there is also high taxation because most money is in cities and most money is in Delhi city. Therefore, short-term individual welfare measures can be afforded for a time. But by repeating that experiment all over the country, the major parties, Congress and several regional parties in particular, with the exception of probably Biju Janata Dal, they have lost all sense of balance between short-term welfare and long-term growth. Short-term welfare is required in any democracy and definitely in our poor country. But what's required is a measure of balance, that you do not borrow to spend on a day-to-day expenditure, and you do not leave a legacy of huge debt on the next generation without building assets and earning capacity, and you maintain intergenerational equity. By ignoring this basic principle, by not focusing on governance in a genuine sense, and by not raising issues politically that are relevant to transformation of our democracy, for instance, the issues of internal democracy in parties, democratizing the political parties, electoral system, genuine decentralization of power with accountability to see that the vote and the outcome in the minds of the public are linked, to see that taxes and services are linked, to see that authority and accountability go together. By not focusing on rule of law as an issue of public debate in a serious manner, not merely accusations against each other, a great opportunity was squandered. Nobody seriously expected AAP to be in power across the country. In our system, it's virtually impossible. But given the opportunity, given the phenomenal public attention, and given the phenomenal publicity, which is the oxygen of politics in any democracy, AAP could have been a tremendous force for a change for the better. Instead, it became just another player for power struggle, in the power struggle. It became a part of the game without transforming the nature of politics, at least in terms of the ideas and public discourse. To me, personally, it is a source of deep sadness. It's not about recrimination. It's not about criticism. It's about a priceless opportunity squandered. On a broader frame, what disappoints me about Delhi election in general is, from a distance it appears to me that phenomenal amounts of money have been spent illegitimately, unaccountably, presumably in large part for distribution to voters. Outside of some of the southern states, which are very notorious for money distribution to voters, inducement of voters before the election, like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And unfortunately, that practice is spreading to many other places. And as we know, in these southern states, typically expenditure is running into thousands of crores, all mostly illegitimate and unaccounted. Now, Delhi also seems to be joining that league. That more than 230 crore rupees was seized by the Election Commission itself gives us an indication of the magnitude of the problem. Because typically, if we see these southern states minus Kerala, about 3 to 4% of the money that's distributed is what is seized. If you go by the same calculation, probably in Delhi election, 5 or 6,000 crores was spent by these parties. It is a matter of deep disquiet. No matter who wins, the political parties, particularly the major political parties and national parties, must wake up. It's about the future of our country. If all elections are about distribution of money, if that becomes the most important determinant of who is the candidate, apart from the other obvious failings of our democracy, like pedigree, the family rule, and caste dominating, if illegitimate money power is the most important source of political recruitment, and if power is excessively centralized, and if there's no link between the vote and consequences, our democracy is in peril. Elections will go on, somebody will win, somebody will lose, because in our country there is intense competition, fierce competition for political office and for relevance, often devoid of substance. Mahatma Gandhi said, politics without principle is a deadly sin. Politics without purpose, power without purpose, or seeking office without even knowing what it's about, is an extremely debilitating thing for a democracy. That this practice has spread to Delhi is a sad thing. I hope the governing party and the main opposition party and other parties and very major leaders of the country with vast experience will introspect and start the process. I know it cannot be changed overnight. It's not one party or any another that is guilty. We are all victims of a vicious cycle. But it's time that we looked at it very seriously, found alternatives, and created a framework of very high quality democracy through democratization of political parties, democratic choice of candidates of caliber, and building an electoral system in which honest, competent, public-spirited, committed citizens, irrespective of party and ideology, can be elected to public office through honest means. That means no distribution of money, no illegitimate practices. Equally, rational means, not merely offering the moon in the short term by way of individual welfare, but actually giving a holistic development and performing the core functions of government. If Delhi does not set an example to the country, then the capital city, with enormous intellectual capital and increasingly tremendous financial clout, job creation and economic growth, is not setting a good example. I hope after this election, the parties will wake up. I hope the media and middle classes will wake up, and we will let the discussion go beyond who wins and who loses, and look at what happens as a consequence of elections. Is our democracy getting better or worse? And I congratulate the Bharatiya Janata Party for achieving a significant majority. I hope they will be a strong, honest, rational, competent and stable government and the national capital, ensuring cooperative and cordial relationship between the Union government and the Union territory of Delhi, and setting an example to the rest of the country. And I hope, at least from now on, civility will prevail in political discourse instead of invective, abuse, excessive rhetoric, and delegitimizing each other. So there are a lot of lessons from Delhi, even more than usual in the rest of the country, because AAP's rise has been one of the significant factors in the past 20 years or so in our political life. What could have been a fantastic opportunity to relook at our democracy has been wasted. But at least let's learn lessons from this today. If we are to emerge as a developed country, our politics will derail our economics. And even if in a moderate level our economy progresses, with bad politics the fruits will not reach the people of the country, the bulk of the people of the country. And ultimately, democracy is about prosperity, it's about enhancement of freedom, it's about accountability, it's about harmony, it's about civility. I know many people are skeptical about these values in India. I'm a great optimist. I believe there's tremendous strength in our society despite all the obvious failings, visible failings. I believe we all care deeply about civility, about integrity, about long-term good of our nation, and about prosperity. And prosperity is spreading across, not by distribution, but by enhancement of human capacity. As Mahatma Gandhi said, not by making people mendicants and dependent on government help, but by giving people a measure of control over their lives, enhancing their capacities and dignity, and making them truly free. That is true Swaraj. So once again, while congratulating the elected government, or the party that's elected to office, and all the representatives who are elected, my very earnest appeal, very humble appeal is, please do not be consumed by an electoral verdict alone. Look at the bigger picture. Particularly, Delhi has that obligation. And if malpractices spread in Delhi, like distribution of money, if terrible approach to governance is spreading from Delhi, like almost exclusive focus on short-term individual welfare at the cost of the long-term public good, then Delhi, the national capital, and a historic city for thousands of years, has not been setting a good example. We need the best out of Delhi to spread to the rest of India. And I hope our leaders, our media, our intelligentsia, our governments, our legislatures will take these lessons to heart and start the process of rejuvenation of both our economy and of our politics, and strengthen our democracy. Thank you.